Greetings and welcome back, gentles and ladiesmen, to another exciting episode of EXO Plays Super Mario 64 DS. In the last episode, we rescued Mario and whatnot. Okay, this could be a problem, because there does not appear to be a Mario cap. That's something that's kind of annoying about this early part of the game, I guess. We gotta go play as Mario. And that being the case, we might as well go open the door and play as him, because, you know, why not? We've already gotten all the stars in Cool Mountain that we needed Yoshi specifically to get, so yeah, that's all cleared out and done with. So we take this key we got from Goomboss and open the door, and...
Mario!
Yeah, now we can play as Mario just permanently, and Mario can pick up transformation caps as well and whatnot. But like I said, Yoshi is the only one who doesn't have transformation caps. I don't know why. But before we go anywhere, let's go up here real quick. That should be fun. So yeah, so there's... Okay, so this is another point of departure from the original version. And we were in the middle of a discussion of the DS controls, but we'll pick up that when there's time for it. Basically, the original version of this game had 3 cap blocks. There was a red wing cap block, a blue vanish cap block, and a green metal cap block. In this game, they pare all of that down to just one. And that is the question mark block, which is red. And the question mark block will give you power flowers, and depending on which character you're playing as, when you get that power flower, it'll basically result in one of the different power-ups from the original game. Like, for example, Mario has 2 power-ups, and that's like the only thing that's unique about him. Is like, as you can see, when he pops open this block, he gets either a feather, which gives him the wing cap, or he gets a power flower, which basically acts like a pea balloon from Super Mario World. Yeah, and there was also a star in there, but we already got that, so now that's all done. And with that, we can actually go wrap up, I don't know, how about we'll finish Cool Mountain first, then we'll finish Bob-omb Battlefield, and then we'll start Whomp's Fortress. Sorry. Alright, so yeah, for this level, we do indeed need to be playing as Mario in order to get the star. It's in a hidden area underneath the level. If you can angle the camera specially, there is a way to cheese your way down there, and that's one of those speedrunning strats that I was talking about that my brother knows about, and a lot of people who like the original version of this game also like, that they can't get in this version. So like, it's not like I don't understand why people would prefer the original. I get it. I understand. There were, like I said, when I first popped this in to start practicing out for the playthrough, I'm like, well, why did I rate this a replace on my, because, you know, I have my remake or rebreak review scale where it's like, that goes from rebreak, remake to replace, with the best ones being replace, and I rated Super Mario 64 DS a replace on that scale. So in order to get where we need to go, we need to use the cannon to blast over. So that's why I talked to that red bomb earlier in the last part, so that I wouldn't have to go waste my time going over to him again to unlock the camera later. And you do need to be playing as Mario because for some reason, Mario is the only human character in this game, or only character period, who can wall jump. Luigi and Wario cannot wall jump, and I really do not understand why for the life of me. And I screwed up the timing of that jump, so we gotta do it again. And you do have to be moving into a wall in order to activate the wall jump. There is one thing that they did improve over the original specifically, is that Mario will now slide off a wall when he does a wall jump, whereas in the original version, he would kind of like bump against the wall and fall off, so you had to press the jump button right as you touch the wall. So in this, so they made this more like, they made the wall jumping more like Sunshine and Galaxy is the point. And Odyssey as well. And I can't remember if wall jumping was in 3D World or not. Like, as you can see, he will slide down the wall, whereas before he would just go oof and then bounce off, you know? So they did fix, actually I can't get this star yet, we need Wario. So we're gonna go ahead and head back to the hub world here, and then we're gonna go back and wrap up Bob-omb Battlefield. And like I said, my strategy for 100 coin stars is going to be combine them with a star that we'll get anyway, And that's why I highly recommend saving the 100 coin star for this particular star, because we are going to be flying around and grabbing a bunch of coins to unlock the star normally, and that's where you're going to need the coins that are up in the sky and the question block power-ups, basically the wing cap, in order to get those coins to begin with. So it only makes sense to get the 100 coin star now with this particular star. So yeah, if you're wondering why I waited until now, that's why. There was a reason for it. And one thing that is worth noting about this remake is there are a couple of levels where they made getting 100 coin stars easier. Like Dire Docks in the original game, there's like barely 100 coins to get. Whereas in this remake, they added a couple new enemies that drop a bunch of coins. You could play as Luigi and completely break the game in half and get coins that way before you're supposed to. So it's like, yeah, this remake makes it a lot more convenient to get 100 coins than before. So that is one thing that they definitely improved, in my opinion. Whereas before, there were some levels where I was like, you know, like I'm playing Dire Docks and I have to play it like 5 times to get all the coins because something went wrong. You know what I mean? Yeah, so last part, I tried to discuss why it is that I feel a lot of people prefer the original controls, or, you know, just the original version in general. And, you know, I get it. I respect that point of view, as long as you're not a dick about it. You know what I mean? It's like, if you don't like the new controls, fine. I think that that's perfectly legitimate, reasonable, tenable opinion to have. And I'm not gonna fight you too hard on that, because, you know, it's like, I have my reasons for preferring this version, and I've shared some of them already, but it's like, you know, I know it's not something that's gonna necessarily click with everyone, you know what I mean? And that's fine. But I guess my point of view in this is that once you do get past that learning curve and learn how to make these controls work, they can work very, very well for the level design that's on display here. And you couple that with all the new additions, and like Luigi especially single-handedly makes this my preferred version, if you want my honest opinion. Some people might be like, really? How could Luigi be that great? But no, he is that great. He completely... Well, we'll talk more about that when we unlock Luigi, and probably in this part, actually, if we can be quick enough about it. But, you know, there are a lot of things that this remake fixes or improves, you know what I mean? And it just makes it so that I would much rather play this version. Because you have to understand, folks, the original version of this game was the first console game I ever played, period. Like, the first game I ever played was Super Mario Deluxe on the Game Boy Color, but the first console game I played was Super Mario 64. I have a lot of nostalgia for the original version of this game, and I still like the original version of this game. I think it's fine, but, you know, still, I feel like I have some nostalgia for this version of the game as well, because I also grew up with this version. And it was kind of like a thing where I hadn't played this in a while, and it had been a while, you know what I mean? There we go, and we did a pro strat to get back up there. By the way, that red mushroom is kind of like a mega mushroom, and it's a new power-up that's only in this version of the game. It doesn't play into much, so I don't even know why they put it in, but much like the mega mushroom from New Super Mario Bros. Wii, or I'm sorry, just New Super Mario Bros. In general, if you kill a certain amount of enemies in a row, you will get extra lives from that, so it is something worth noting. It's a mega mushroom in all but appearance. It's functionally the same thing. But what I'm trying to say is that this, there are a lot of advantages to this new version, and personally, as someone who is not like a die-hard speedrunner of Super Mario 64, who does not know all of the glitches and pro strats and whatnot to play this game and completely break, you know, the original version specifically in two, you know, that stuff doesn't really matter too much to me. I'm not really so much concerned about that, and I think that most casual players who are playing this for the first time aren't going to care about that either. It's really mostly people like my brother who have been playing this since it came out and have a lot of... just really like it for how open-ended and how much you can experiment with, and all those kinds of aspects who are going to want to speedrun it and who are specifically going to want to play that version of the game. Whereas me specifically, I don't care about that. I'm more interested in... At the end of the day, I think that the improvements over the original version, to me, make this the better version. And I don't know, maybe I was a bit too hasty to call it a replace and rate it that high. Like, really, I should have some kind of rating in between remake and replace. I've been thinking about adding this for a long time, but I've never committed to it. This score would be called a remaster. And it'd be like, basically, a remake that fixes and improves a lot and is basically a replace, but there's still something substantial that you can only get in the original version, you know? The reason I haven't, you know, committed to that score is because it feels like kind of a cop-out, you know what I mean? And, I don't know, I feel like people... I don't know, that's the reason why I haven't added it, because at that point, you know, it just makes the remake score seem a little more pointless. I've also thought about completely removing the score system altogether, because it only seems to cause me issues, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. Maybe people would riot in the streets if I got rid of it. I don't know, frankly, it's the only reason it's still here at this point is for tradition's sake. But, you know, it's like, I guess I have been convinced since I wrote that review, especially since learning more about the speedrunning community, that maybe calling the remake a replace was a bit hasty on my part, but I feel like this is a much more beginner-friendly version of Super Mario 64. It has more content, it fixes a lot of things that were kind of annoying in the original, and, you know, it just seems to me like if I'm gonna play Super Mario 64, this is how I'm going to play it. Like, I know that my friend Ryan is not a huge fan of Super Mario 64 in general, and he likes this version better. And I don't know, I guess he prefers the new control scheme as well, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting that a lot of people that don't like the original version tend to like this version better. At least from my experience. It's kind of, I don't know. I do feel like, to some extent, beyond the legitimate criticisms of having to learn a new control scheme that's not going to work for everybody, and, you know, the new I don't know, I don't agree with the criticism of the new characters, because it just seems like ever since people started getting into criticizing Sonic Adventure, specifically, that we've just decided that having multiple characters is just bad, always, and that's not something I agree with at all. I feel like you have to judge the new characters in their own merits, about like whether they're fun to play, and just having new characters, period, is not bad in itself. So that's the star we're gonna pair with our 100 coin star. We're down there. It pops up right next to the red coin stars, so make sure that you don't get that by mistake. And, you know, the reason that you would get that by mistake is that you'll probably be getting some of the red coins to get up to 100, so yeah. Red coins are worth 2 coins, by the way. And blue coins are worth 5, so those are the ones that you definitely want to go after for 100 coin stars. And now we're done with Bob-omb Battlefield and Cool Cool Mountain, so next we're gonna head over and do Whomp's Fortress, which is over here. And we'll worry about Bowser later. I don't feel like fighting him right now, so we're gonna keep going with this. Yeah, I mean, we'll have plenty of time to talk more about this version versus the later one, but I guess one thing that I would like to do is, as long as you're watching this playthrough and watching someone who understands how the controls work play the game, I guess one thing that I do want to bring up is just some pro tips for learning the controls and making them work for you. And the big one that I want to get across to people is the tank scheme. Basically, as long as you're holding the camera button, which is the L button, you can turn on a dime. You see that? Sorry. And as long as you know that... Oh, I almost made it. And I almost made it again. It's kind of hard to angle in this way. And that fucking Goomba's in the way as well. Let me try to do this again. There we go. Now we don't need the cannon to get that. And I'm pretty sure You can also try triple jumping up there, and I don't know, maybe it'll let you backflip against a wall, but I don't know. And so, like I said, while some people at first may go like, really, a tank scheme, that's gonna be your saving grace for playing this game, but it's just like, you can still move around. Like, the way that the controls work is that while you're running around and you press in a certain direction, Mario will gradually turn that way. It's not like Crash Bandicoot where you just go on a grid, you know what I mean? Like, if you move from a standstill, it's like that, but once you get moving, he turns. So it does have that feel. It does feel more like an analog stick than Crash Bandicoot does. They tried to kind of mimic that, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Let's see, and let's try opening this guy right here. And so yeah, so I'll show you, while you're holding the L button, you move in a tank scheme, and that helps you to round corners very easily. And like if you're running along like this, it makes it so much easier. In addition to the L button also helping to keep the camera focused, because it's the thing about 3D games that I find is that most of the time you're gonna be angling the camera straight ahead, because it's easier to push your character straight ahead than to move it at some kind of weird, wacky angle, you know what I'm saying? And we're gonna be pulling up some more pro strats. Let's see if that owl shows up. Nope. So I guess I still have to beat the boss here before it'll let me do that. I was hoping I could use the owl to skip to the top, but I guess they don't let you do that. The game designers were too smart for me, folks. And we'll save the 100 coin star for when we get the red coins. So for now, we're just gonna go after the boss at the top. So I guess so like you can see, I can maneuver around with and another thing worth mentioning is there is a run button in this game, the Y button, which is pretty typical for Mario games since the Super Nintendo days, so if you played those, you can get used to that pretty quickly.
It makes me so mad. We build your houses, your castles, we pave your roads, and still you walk all over us. Do you ever say thank you? No! Well, you're not gonna wipe your feet on me. I think I'll crush you just for fun. You have a problem with that? Just try to pound me, wimp.
Alright, so this is King Thwomp. And he is very easy. All you have to do is wait for him to flop on his face. There is a way to sneak under his legs if you can time it properly. But, I don't know, I feel like the more foolproof way of fighting him is to just walk out of the way, so. I do use the squat technique for fighting him in Super Mario Galaxy 2, where he returns, and this whole level returns, and it's one of the few instances of Nintendo doing nostalgia that really worked.
No! Crushed again! I'm just a stepping stone after all. I won't grovel. Here, you win. Take this with you.
Well, we've beaten King Thwomp, or King... Yeah, it's Thwomp. No, Whomp. I don't know, I can't remember. I think Whomps are the ones that jump on their face, and then the Thwomps are the ones that try to squish you from above. They're basically cubes. Sometimes I forget what I mean, so... Alright, so this will be the last star we play. And I wonder if that owl's here yet. Nope. Alright, so we're gonna have to jump up there the old-fashioned way. But like I said, run button, you let go of the run button and now you have more maneuverability to get through tight spaces and whatnot. If you're moving in the cardinal directions with the D-pad, it works just fine. Like I said, with the gradual turning, that makes it easier than if you're playing something like Metroid Other M or Crash Bandicoot 1 specifically. So I feel like in terms of making this work with the D-pad, they made this about as well as they could. And then when you put in the L button, a tank scheme that helps it just that much extra, you know what I mean? And there's still some trick shots that you can pull off. I'm not, like I said, there are a bunch of speedrunning tactics that you can do in the original game that I don't know. I'm sure that many of them do not carry over as well, which is, one of the reasons why a lot of people do not like this version. But I don't know. I'm not an expert on that part of the equation, so that's definitely something that if you are one of those people, you can tell us more about that in the comments, all right? But anyways, join me in part 4, and we'll go back into Whomp's Fortress again and finish her off. So, till then, I'm Exo, and I'll see you guys next time.